Welcome back, everyone, to our gameplay series of NASCAR Heat 3. So things have taken a rather sad but interesting turn since our last race at Talladega. Of course, we're ready for Kansas, and this is a big race for us in points. Can we make it to the next round of the playoffs, and so on? But things took an interesting turn in that over the last few races, I'm not sure exactly how many, 2, 3, 4, I have really no idea. I've been noticing that it sounded like the engine was a little bit different, had a little different sound than I was used to. At first, I really didn't pay it much attention. I figured I was just either hearing things or it was because we didn't have as much horsepower as a fully upgraded car, just different things like that. And I basically just brushed it off as a non-issue. But over the last couple of races, it's gotten worse and worse. And so I've been trying to figure out exactly what it was, and I have finally figured out exactly what it is, and it's that my pedals are going bad, and to a large extent have already gone bad. Now, I've never been a big fan of the G920 pedals. They are adequate at best. They're largely made out of plastic, and so it's not exactly a very expensive rig to start with, but now they have stopped functioning properly. And what that's led to here recently over the last at least few races is that we're not getting full throttle all the time. The potentiometer, as I'm watching it on the graph in Windows, sometimes it will get to full throttle, but then other times it will just jump around anywhere between half throttle and full throttle, and it jumps around pretty wildly. And it turns out that's what was causing the weird engine note is because essentially the engine wasn't getting to full throttle all the time, and it made it sound like it wasn't operating on all cylinders, essentially. So what I've done since the Talladega race, actually several days have passed since the Talladega race, and if you're with me on the Discord, then I let you guys know this basically as soon as I realized what was going on. So that's been probably a week ago at this point. So what I decided to do was I knew I had a couple of options. Purchasing a new pedal set is not an option for me right now. So I've got what I've got. I've got an old pedal set of CST performance pedals that I've had forever. And they've served me well, but they basically have the same issue. The potentiometer, I mean, they jump all over the place. And in fact, they're so old that a lot of times Windows doesn't even recognize it. Sometimes I'll have to start and restart the computer multiple times trying to get the computer to even realize they exist. So that's not really a very good option for me right now. But I decided to take apart the G920 pedals and try to clean them as best I could, look for any wires that might be loose, that kind of thing. And basically, I didn't find anything that's really made any difference. So what I've done is I've tried to patch it back together as best I can, and I've tried to adjust the settings in the game for the sensitivity for the pedals and all of that, just to try to get us to a place where we can at very least finish this season. Championship or no championship, I would like to at least finish this season, because this will give us a full season going from the dirt all the way up through Cup, and that's sort of my minimum that I want to get out of this series at this point when I look at all the factors that are involved. So like I said, I've adjusted the sensitivity as best I can to try to get us to full throttle the biggest percentage of the time, but what that's done is it's essentially turned the gas pedal in particular into an on-off switch. If I go to full throttle, then it should be okay, but I'm not going to have any room to play around with the throttle. It's basically going to be 100% throttle or 0% throttle. So that's going to make it very interesting. And hey, why not? We're headed into Kansas. There's a lot of points implications on the line. So let's throw one more thing in there. But at this point, my biggest hope is that the pedals will hold together and not get any worse just for a few more races to get to the end of the season. And I'm going to try to baby it as much as I can to get it there. And then after that, who knows? I'll continue to work on these things because like I said, I'm not going to be purchasing any new wheels or pedals in the near future. So I'm going to do everything I can to make them last as long as I can. So with that out of the way, let's go ahead and jump into the season status, because I want to show the playoff grid and where things stand heading into Kansas, which of course is the last race in the round of 12. We have a 5-point cushion. That's it. Over Kyle Busch, who is in 8th position. And then we've got really only 2 guys, Clint Bowyer and Martin Truex Jr., who have a realistic shot to point their way in. Eric Jones and Chase Elliott really need a victory or nothing in order to get them in at this point. So our goal is the same as it always is, trying to maximize those stage points as best we can, and then hopefully we can get the best finish we can at the end of the race. And of course, above all, we hope that the pedals will hang in there and allow us to get a complete race in without having to worry so much about it. So I'm going to be very in tune with the engine sound in this race, and hopefully we'll get what we need. Now, if we can move on after this round, then we've got Martinsville, Texas, and ISM. And I can go ahead and tell you, I do not plan on running Martinsville, and probably not Phoenix either. And the reason is, with these pedals this way, that is going to be a huge headache for me and really not something I want to deal with. So I'm probably, if we can make it onto the round of 8, probably just going to stick with only Texas, since we can run it wide open or very close to wide open at this particular point in time, which will certainly help me out with these pedals. So that's kind of my plan going forward. And then of course, if everything works out perfectly, we'll have a shot at a title at Homestead. But a lot has to go right in order for that to be the case. Now, I've already done all of the work on the cars, so we have our chassis ready to go, and it is the Speedway chassis number 2, 100, 100, and 95. So we're all set as far as that goes. Let's head to the track. All right, folks, it is race time here at Kansas, and this should be quite a bit of fun. So we're going to be starting just outside the top 20. That's right, not inside the top 20, but outside the top 20 in 21st position. And looks like we've had some pre-grid adjustments, because we're going to be here on the outside, which is not a bad thing in this case, because in case we need to get out of the way, we can certainly do so. Also, I really prefer the high side at this track. And so what we're interested in are really 3 cars for the most part. And those 3 cars are Kyle Busch, Martin Truex Jr., and now I've forgotten who the 3rd car was. Oh, Clint Bowyer. That's right. Because those are really the 3 that we need to be concerned with on the points side of things. Of course, it would be great if we could get up there and have a shot at bringing home a victory. But right now, we're going to focus on trying to get up there for some stage points. And then, of course, look and see where those other 3 guys are. So we do have a little bit of a cushion, but of course, stage points, if we don't get them and they do, that can get rid of that cushion very quickly. All right, so we're going to see how this goes as we get around these other cars. Again, I do not mind being in the high side in that 2nd or 3rd groove at this track. I actually enjoy it quite a bit. So 9 laps here in this first stage, and we are closing in on halfway through that number of laps. And we are in 18th, so that means we need to get a move on. I'm keeping an eye out for the 3 cars we talked about, and hopefully I can continue to remember who they are as time goes on. But so far I've not seen them. That's not good, because I doubt they're behind us. let's try the low side a little bit here. I don't know what we're going to have for him down here, but trying to be real careful down here.
Careful now, still there. Excellent.
All right, 4 more laps.
Stay on the bottom here for me. Still there. All right, clear outside.
All right, there we go. There's the 78 car. So right now we know he's not in the points either. So that's good news for us. He's the only one I see though. All right, so he's going to the high side. It looks like he's struggling some. So we're going to try to hug this bottom for now.
Stay low, still there.
So I already know our car is not going to be terribly fast. I've tried to make it fairly stable
Still there.
just in case we start to have some issues with the throttle, and hopefully we'll at least have a stable car and we can nurse it home.
Couple more turns.
So right now speed is not the primary goal. Give Truex a little bump there just to let him know we're back here, in case he was wondering.
Clear. Awesome.
All right, the one car is worrying me
Inside.
because he is really trying to stick his nose in there.
Hang tight there, driver. Hold this line here. White flag. Come on, dig, driver. The car there's on your inside. Inside. All right, now you're clear.
All right, so white flag, we're not going to be able to get any points out of stage 1, that's for sure. In fact, we've basically made up no positions since the start of the race.
Hold your line. Stay up high. Stay high. Careful now. Still there. No points that stage with plenty of racing left.
All right, so the key is, did any of these other guys get points? So let's see if it will let us see the top 10. Nope, it did not let us get that far. Of course, we're not going to be pitting. So we'll go ahead and advance on. Let's get stage number 2 started. So this time we're going to be on the inside line and just inside the top 20. So again, we really didn't get anywhere from where we started.
Keep digging. We have 10 to go.
All right, 10 laps here in this particular stage, and hopefully we can hang with these guys and make up some positions.
Still there. Careful now. Still there.
Ooh, I thought we were about to have a collision there with the 78 car. Thankfully, we did not. But that was very close.
Hang tight there, driver. Hold this line here. Got a car up top. He's up top. Got a car high now. Inside. Inside. Top
All right.
straight here. Use
Let's
the
see. Okay, we're free on the high side. I thought we were going to be in the middle of 3 wide, which I don't particularly have any interest in right now.
on your inside. Inside.
Boy, this is going to be very close because it looks like we're having no luck in making up any spots. So if that continues, it is going to be extremely close. Add to that the reality that I have no idea where Kyle Busch is on the track. And while even if Kyle Busch gets around us in points, that's not the end of the world because that would still put us in 8th. But too many unknowns right now as far as at least a couple of the guys in points. We know Truex isn't getting any points. He's not having a good day because he's back here with us. But beyond that, we don't know what's going on in front of us. But we're up to 15th, but I can tell we don't really have the speed to be in the top 15 right now. At least I don't think we do, unless these guys are fading, because we just don't have the speed in this car.
Hold your line, stay up high, stay high, careful, still there. You're all clear on the bottom.
You can see we got enough speed on the high side to sort of hold Kurt Busch off, but that's about it. We're not really making up a whole lot of ground.
Clear all around. 5 laps to go.
Try to get up here in this higher lane.
Car there's on your inside. Inside.
All right, how long is Kurt Busch going to give us before he just gets tired of racing with us and tired of us being just fast enough to keep him from getting by? And again, you can see Truex back there behind. I mean, at this point, we're basically keeping up with the group in front of us. I mean, there's several cars just right in front of us. So, who knows? I feel like the car is slow as Christmas right now. But the AI certainly aren't running away from us, so that's one good thing we have going for us. As we come close to the end of stage 2, and once again, we are outside of the points. I'm trying to glance in front of us whenever I can and see if I can find Kyle Busch, and so far I've not seen him.
Inside. Couple more turns. 2 more. 2 to go. Hold your line. Got 1 inside. Hold your line.
All right, final 2 laps here in stage number 2.
Still there.
Truex trying to make up some ground, but this is certainly not where he needs to be in order to advance.
Got 1 down low now. Got 1 down low. Inside. One more to go. Hang tight there, driver. Hold this line here.
All right, so at this point, even though we're not fighting for points here in this stage, I'm going to fight as hard as I can
All around.
for positions, because of course this will determine where we start stage number 3.
Still there.
And we're not going to quite get there. Okay, so we'll end up in 16th position. And once again, it would be nice if they would let us see the top 10 before it jumps to this screen, but it does not. So I still have no idea where the other 2 guys are running that we need to care about. But now I do know this. We got 15 laps left, and I'm really hoping that it will stay more bunched up directly in front of us, and maybe that will give us an opportunity here in this final stage to finish somewhere close to that top 10.
Hold your line. Got 1 inside. Hold your line. Got 1 down low now. Got 1 down low. Inside. Careful now. Still there.
Yeah, anytime I have to get out of the throttle, it is not a good thing. I just sort of hold my breath that we can get back to full throttle.
Still there. You stay up high here. Stay up high. Still there. Careful. Still there.
Once again, I'm trying to look up there and see
Keep digging. We have 10 to go.
if I can find these other 2 guys, and so far I'm not having any luck.
You're clear.
Of course, admittedly, I'm having to spend a lot of time 2 and 3 wide right now, so
Still there.
my available time to actually
That car there's on
peer
your
into the
inside.
distance and see which cars are out there is a little bit limited right now.
Inside. Careful, still there. Clear your left, clear all around.
All right, so we're definitely inside of 10 to go here in the race lap, running lap 29 of 37.
Careful, still there.
And there's Kyle Busch. I finally got to see him. I see him up there in front. So at this point, I'm going to assume he's gotten at least some stage points.
Hold this line here.
I have not seen Clint Boyer yet. And unfortunately, we're not moving forward so that I would have an opportunity to see if he's further forward. So at this point, because of where I see Kyle Busch running, I'm going to assume that we're fighting for 8th position in that final transfer spot.
Still there.
42 car got way out of the gas on corner entry, and I was not expecting that. So we almost had a big wreck. All right, so we're in 17th position, and we got a little bit of room on the guys behind us. And just as we had in stage 2, there are several guys very close to us running in this tight pack. So there are some positions to be had if we've got the speed to do it.
Stay low. Careful, still there.
Boy, nothing like the final race in a particular portion of the playoffs, or round of the playoffs. Nothing like it coming down to these. Oh, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. I could see that coming. Kyle Larson squeezing it in there, and there was just no room. We were 3 wide, and that was never going to work. I have seen that happen so many times in this game, and that's one of the reasons why I say that you can generally race with 1 or 2 of the AI at a time, but you get 4, 5, 6 or more of them together, good luck. I hope you survive. So it's good for us that they're all bunched up right now, because we need to try to make up some spots, but at the same time, it is also playing with fire. So luckily, we survived right there. I got hit from both sides. All right, 3 laps to go. We're sitting here in 15th, which quite honestly is better than I thought we were going to be in this race. And I have no idea where Clint Boyer is. So this is going to be interesting. Martin Truex basically doesn't have much of a shot being this close to us. We had several points on him. So we're fighting for that 8th and final playoff spot. Now you also notice with that wreck that we had, there was no caution flag. And I have the cautions on strict, if I remember correctly, is how they name that. But strict cautions, and even though we certainly had a lot of contact, some people bouncing off the wall, no caution flag. All right, final lap. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to get close enough to even try anything here in 3 and 4. We're going to give it everything we got anyway, because what other way would you race? All right, so here we go. The time of reckoning is here. Did we make it, or did we not make it? All right, who finished in the top 10? We're hoping for good news here. Clint Boyer. Ooh, that is not good. He had a stage victory and he finished third. That is not good at all for us. All right, so let's go ahead and see what we got. And I don't think it's going to be good, but we're going to hope for the best, right? All right, once again, that merchandise payout is huge. Oh, and as I suspected, we didn't make it. So, not bad. Not bad. It actually turned out better than I thought it was. And best of all, we didn't get involved in a wreck. It was very close a few times, but thankfully, we did not get involved. So we're going to end up 10th in the points. And, of course, we'll not move on to the final couple of rounds. So that's actually going to make my decisions that much easier for the remainder of the season. So let's go ahead and work our way back to the main menu. We'll go ahead and finish off the event. Jimmy Johnson with the fastest lap of the event. That's something that I know they're hoping for more of, since in the last couple of years they have not seen much of that at all. All right, so we've got the total opposites here. Brad Keselowski thinks we did amazing at Kansas, and then Ricky Stenhouse, not so much. So we'll go ahead and respond to both of them. So as we come back to the main menu and prepare for week number 36 in the racing season, this season certainly has not turned out the way I wanted it to, particularly here at the end. But hey, we're going to keep going with it as best we can, and hopefully the pedals will hang in there with us for at least a few more races. That's going to do it for now. Thank you very much for joining me, and stay tuned as we will continue our gameplay series of NASCAR Heat 3.